the paternity testing. I'm really curious about what he's doing and how he's doing it. So let's get a brief introduction from you, Royal. I'm here with my partner Anthony as well. Let's have a conversation and see where this goes. I'm kind of interested. So can
Yeah.
you tell us how you got into entrepreneurship and how long you've been doing that, what you did in the past, kind of stuff like that?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, my name is Royal Banks. I am the owner of Assurance DNA, military officer. I've been in the military for 8 years. I'm currently an active duty officer stationed in El Paso, Texas. I think y'all are based out of San Antonio, or at least one of y'all is based out of San Antonio. So yeah, for sure. I've been there before. So anyway, how I got into entrepreneurship, man, ever since I was a kid, I always liked making my own money. So, while my friends were out kind of playing basketball, I play basketball and football with them too, but I love like mowing lawns or raking leaves to make my own money. I just always loved it. That's just what I did. So, as I grew up, my mom, she owned her own business too. She's been owning her own paternity testing business in Georgia for the past 20 years or so. So I've witnessed her grow her own business and helped her get into the digital age around like 2013, 2014 with getting her own Google, getting her Facebook squared away, getting her website squared away. And yeah, man, in college, I was entrepreneurial too. Never really had a job in college. I sold snacks and burgers and hot dogs to the hungry kids at night. I was Uber Eats before Uber Eats. Yeah, out of college, still worked a job, joined the military, but also, had a resume writing service, started with, a little bit of marketing and, dibbling and dabbling in certain things. And here we are now, with Assurance DNA, my baby.
So what did you say what military branch you're in?
I'm in the Army.
You're in the Army. Well, thank you for your service. We appreciate
Yeah, thank
all
you for your
military
support.
veterans. That's awesome, man. And then you said almost sounds like it's a family business. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
somewhat. Yeah. So like I said, my mom, she started her paternity testing business in like 2002 or so. So almost 20 years. And yeah, I just by absorption, I just kind of learned somewhat kind of how the field was. But it wasn't until I jumped in it with my own 2 feet how I really learned how it really goes down, how to run and scale the business. So yeah, I helped her out. It is somewhat some sort of a family business, but I have my own entity now.
Gotcha. So you kind of followed in her footsteps and went in your own lane, and now you guys
Yeah,
are kind of working. You're kind of working together, but not together.
yeah, that's absolutely correct. She is like
Mentor.
my mentor, man. She's like my she's like my Obi-Wan Kenobi, man, for real. She when I start, I mean, we'll get into it, but when I started the business, I would call her every single day and ask her, like, what about this? What about that? What about this? Now I can operate on my own. I'm sovereign now, but she is like the technical expert when it comes to DNA testing. I think probably one of the top people in the US, in my opinion.
Wow.
I mean, what does that look like, man? Can you tell us a little bit more about the business model without giving away the secret sauce? And then what does the scalability like that look like? I mean, is it like running ads online and people stumble across you, or is it referral based? How does the business work? I'm just kind
Yeah,
of curious. That's awesome.
yeah, it's a mix of both. It's running ads online and it's also referral based. So as of right now, I'm about 95% running ads online or just having a Google My Business set up. And I just so happen to be the DNA testing company that people come across when they search on Google. And then I'm also actively working, since I'm still building and scaling the business to where I want it to be, really establishing relationships with family law attorneys. That's what it really is too. It's like referral based, and it's also simply just Google. I don't really focus too much on Facebook or, Twitter. It's just me just, pushing out my brand, but it's that Google, it's those Google ads. And it's that referral based system, like you said.
So let me ask you this: you have physical locations, or are you virtual? Like, can you kind of jump into that side of it?
Yeah, it's a blend of both. So I have a physical location in El Paso, but technically I can do a DNA test anywhere in the country. Because there is an existing network. I know how to tap into the existing network that I use with the lab that I'm partnered with, and then there's another network that I've tapped in, that I've developed as well, where I can get a DNA test done. So, for example, if somebody needs a paternity test done in El Paso, but the alleged father is in Philadelphia, I can make a couple of calls, send a couple of emails, and make it happen, within 20 minutes. So, yeah, I can essentially. You said, go ahead.
It sounds like you're the middleman for paternity tests.
Yeah, I am. I'm the middleman. I'm not the lab. If I were a lab, I would have, a multi-million-dollar laboratory to actually test the samples. Yes, if you're a DNA agency owner, you are the middleman. That's essentially, whether you're a franchise or an independent collector, you're the middleman. You're the person between the client and the lab. There's only a few labs. There's only like 41 AABB accredited labs in the world. So if you were to own that, you'd be a multi-deca million dollar hedge fund or something like that to own one of those labs.
No, that's dope, man. We feel it. We feel the business model. That's what we do with real estate, right? So typically we're just matching buyers and sellers. So we kind of understand the business model. That's amazing, man. That sounds dope. So is it how is that scalable? I mean, how does that work? Like I said, is it through partnerships, or how can you ramp up sales in a business like that? I'm always curious about how you could do something like that. And then, are you the one that's manually fulfilling orders, or do you have like a VA that fulfills stuff and talks to people?
Good question. So scalability is increasing through advertising and just essentially referrals throughout multiple cities. Building relationships with family law attorneys, judges, courts in multiple cities, scaling your ad budget. So for example, I have a mentor who makes around $40,000 or $50,000 a month doing DNA testing. He has different sites. He has different businesses set up in different cities, and he just simply runs Google ads and gets calls. And that's how he scales. I could literally, if I wanted to, I can establish technically a new office in another city within the next 20 minutes if I wanted to, or within the next business day or so, set up ads and start just running. And, as long as I know where to send clients to go get their DNA collected at, I can run a business essentially in another city. Now, to answer your second question, I don't have a VA, but my wife helps me run the business. So since I'm active duty Army, I'm working, 12 hours a day. I can't answer the calls. So my wife answers the phone. She fulfills the appointments, fulfills the invoices, answers all their questions. Every once in a while, she'll send me a text or put the person on hold and give me a call, and I can answer it. But she handles all that stuff, and she does the testing in El Paso. So for example, if somebody actually wants to do a test and wants to come to the office, she will go to the office and do the DNA test. 15 minutes, she's out, and we have made $300 to $400, just like that. So and essentially, once my wife eventually gets back into her profession, we will have VAs absolutely to help fulfill that duty.
So what I love about this is that every business is marketing. You're a marketing business.
Yeah.
Because we're the same way. Like, oh, we're real estate investors. Like, no, we're a marketing business first. We're a marketing business to get leads, because that's what creates the money, and you just target whatever you want. Because Anthony was a marketer for roofs, and that's what he did. He would find clients for roofs, pass out the jobs, and now we're doing the same thing with real estate. So I think it's huge that you're a marketing business. That's what it is. You might be in the niche of paternity testing, but you're a marketing business.
And that's you're exactly right, man. That's the thing too, is like a lot of DNA agencies solely just either focus on Google, or they have the referral based system as well, or they know attorneys, and that's phenomenal. That's great. I'm trying all types of different stuff. I am actively talking about DNA testing, writing articles on LinkedIn. I'm on Thumbtack. I'm the only DNA testing company on Thumbtack. Like, I actually called Thumbtack up and was like, hey, do you have a category for paternity testing? And they were like, no, this is the first time you ever even heard of this before. So I had to finagle my way around that and set up on Thumbtack. But I'm the only DNA testing company on Thumbtack, like paternity testing. So trying different ways, trying different marketing channels, ways of putting out the message. I mean, I set up bus stop bench ads in El Paso, Assurance DNA. Hey, unsure if the child's yours, call this number. Physical marketing, bandit signs. Try everything, throw it against the wall, see what sticks. But that's what I'm in the business of. You're absolutely correct.
That is awesome. That's really cool, man. I've never heard of Thumbtack, but I'm gonna look it up after this call, because for us, we're doing the same thing. We're literally on every social media platform, just because we want to be visible to as many people as possible.
Thumbtack is big for tradespeople, basically tradespeople. So landscaping, TV mounters, plumbers, electricians, that's what it's huge for. So maybe there's a fit for that, but that's what that is. It's essentially a marketplace for tradespeople.
That's awesome, man. That's very, very interesting. So you said you started this in 2013, right?
No, I started Assurance DNA in December 2020. So actually in about 4 days, it will have been a year in business.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
You're new venture.
Yeah, new venture, building venture. But man, we my wife and I were looking at trying to buy a mobile home at that time, in like the October, November timeframe. And these deals kept falling through. just people. I don't know if you guys are into mobile home investing or anything like. I know you guys are. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So people were wanting $30,000, $40,000, $60,000 for a mobile home in a park, which is just not attached to land. Like, it's just ridiculous. So we had this money set aside, and I just got frightened. I was like, yo, man, these deals keep falling through. This is ridiculous. And a year and a half prior to that, my wife was like, yo, your mom runs a DNA testing company. How about you start your own? And I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. Like, nah, well, this, giving excuses. She was like, okay, I mean, it seems like a pretty good business. And I was like, nah. Then, the deals kept falling through with the mobile homes. And I was like, you know what, babe, let's do this DNA testing thing. So I got on the whiteboard, the one that's right behind me, whiteboarded it out. She didn't hold it against me. She was like, all right, cool. You got the plan. Here we go. And here we are, a year later. And I joke with matching polo shirts, Assurance DNA polo shirts. So, yeah.
Well, congratulations on a year, man. That's not a small feat. And definitely, I think one thing about entrepreneurs is we're too hard on ourselves. And you don't congratulate yourself on the wins.
Yeah.
12 months in business is a win. I mean, it's good.
It is.
I mean, just starting a business is good. I think a lot of people, what separates them from going any place is they don't start.
They get hung up. They get hung up in the beginnings and the analysis paralysis and all that.
Yeah. The people that do start and they aren't consistent and they quit. Yeah. So as long as you start and you're consistent, you're going to do better than 90% of the people out there.
Yeah. Exactly. This is like my baby, man. I've never felt this way about a business before. I think that's really interesting. I've bought, property. I got real estate in Fayetteville, a mobile home and a regular house. I have the resume writing business. That was cool. But I've never felt this way about a business before. I am excited and passionate and all in, and it's just a perfect combination of passion as well as, trying to stay consistent and disciplined with actually building the business.
So you hit it right on the nose about passion. Go ahead, Anthony.
No, I was gonna say yes. So what's next for you, man? Are you getting close to retiring the military? You're gonna do this full time?
I think I have a few years left in the military. I don't know if I would do 24 years, but we're routing it out and seeing, as husband and wife, we're making decisions as we go along. And I don't know. I'll tell you what, man, those numbers from the DNA testing, they're projected to look very good in the next year or two. So we'll see how it goes from there.
Yeah, I was sitting at a restaurant with my buddy last week, and we were having lunch, and nothing amazing was happening. We're just eating some steak, just talking, and it's like this is the middle of the day during the middle of the week.
Yeah,
like, you know what? I think we made it, bro.
That's what it's about. It's that freedom.
Yeah,
it's that freedom to do kind of what you want during, as in the military. Of course, I'm not gonna, dump on the military because that's my trade, that's my career. But you are a government employee, and so you don't have the freedom to take a flight whenever you want to go somewhere, or sometimes you might be working on Christmas Day or Thanksgiving. It is what it is. That's the sacrifice that you make when you sign up. But as I get older, I think I might want a little bit more freedom, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so I know they take good care of their people too, man. My dad was military, and he still has all of his benefits and everything. Yeah. We're big time supporters of our military and police and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, man, I know it's a good career, and I feel like it's very hard to measure success if you're trying to base it off of a number, right? It's like when are you going to feel successful? When I have 500 in the bank, or $1 million worth of assets, or 1,000 doors? It's like a never-ending chase, right, for fulfillment. But I think, just being able to do whatever you want with your time, it's pretty amazing, man. So yeah, I'm just kind of enjoying being here myself. And like I said, I just wonder where other people are at, and I know having a powerful career is good. It's to set yourself up for the future. But yeah, something to be said about just sitting at a restaurant on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. with nowhere to go.
Yeah. That's an accomplishment, man. Congratulations. No, seriously. That's an accomplishment.
So one thing I really liked is that your business can scale infinitely because you work with third-party partners. Mm-hmm. So as long as you run up your added budget and you have people to answer the phones, you can run this to infinity. In theory, right?
Yeah, yes, pretty much. And I said that on another podcast the other day, is that there's no limit on the amount of DNA tests I can do. Like there's nobody, the labs don't contact me and say, hey man, you're doing too many DNA tests. You need to stop. You know, if I do 1,000 DNA tests a year, I mean, that's looks like about 300,000. I might be wrong, about 300,000, whatever, 300 times 1,000 or $300,000 a year or something like that. If I do 1,000 a year, I can do 10,000 a year. There's no limit on the amount. And like you said, the scalability is just me. It's essentially increasing ads, increasing my brand awareness. People know who I am. And, you know, when they think of paternity testing, they want to call me, you know, immediately. That's what I am trying to get to over the next decade or so.
You need to sponsor Mari.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, so the lab that I'm partnered with, it actually is the lab that sponsors Mari. Like whenever you see Mari open up the results, that's the lab that I'm partnered with. That's what they do. So they have the marketing budget and the network and relationships that they've done over the past 20 something years to have relationships with both Mari and Paternity Court. If you ever watch Paternity Court, whenever she opens up those results, that's the lab that I'm partnered with. I'm a corporate partner with them.
That's awesome. Branding and corporations get into any niche they can, and it's smart too, because I mean it goes hand in hand. So why not do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was gonna say, there goes a marketing idea right there, right? You have a YouTube channel, you're talking to people, yep, and you're trying to work through the process. You sponsor them, they come on your show, interview them. You say, hey, we'll pay for the test if we can interview you, kind of see what the history looks like. That'll make for some killer content.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really interesting. But over, you know, running a DNA, a paternity testing business, it has its ups, of course, you know, when you're getting compensated for doing a test, but also the hard part sometimes is giving someone the answers that they don't like. You know, that's a big thing. So I've had multiple clients who got 0%. You know, they either male or woman that called in and they were my client, and they wanted to be the father of the child, or they thought they were the father of the child for the past 11, 12 years, and they weren't, and they were married. Oh, it's rough, you know, delivering, you know, that information. So there's an aspect also, you know, yes, there's ads and there's marketing and stuff like that, but there's also an aspect of emotional intelligence when you work in this business as well. It's rough at times to deliver those results to people. But it's part of the business. You know, you're either going to get a 99.9% that you are the father, or he is the father, or 0. And some people process those results a little bit differently. So, you know, an aspect of emotional intelligence in this business is needed as well. You can't just be a robot or treat people like numbers.
How is that? So you actually have to call them and give them the information?
Yeah. So what I do, I don't call. I call and let them know that the results are ready. And then I send them to them either in a secure email or mail. But I know what the results are, and they'll get them, because I don't reveal the results over the phone, because they might be next to somebody. You know, you never know who they're next to or who's on that other line. So, but I deliver the results to them, and sometimes they call me or they text me like, "Is this real? I thought this girl was mine. You know, I raised her, and she's 12 years old, and I signed the birth certificate, and that's my wife. That's me and my wife's child."
Oh my God.
Hey, you know, sorry, sir, you know, the lab runs the test multiple times. This is signed off by both a doctor and a notary. You know, these are the results at 0%. I'm sorry, you know, and I've had a client who told me her husband, you know, basically broke down and almost got back into being an alcoholic off of those results. And it's a serious thing. It's just, like I said, yes, the scaling of the business, yes, the business aspect of it too, but yeah, having that emotional intelligence and being able to try to speak to people and help people in some of the darkest moments in their lives is a serious matter.
Yeah, man. Yeah, somebody's life changes on a dime with the yeah, like you said, something they believed for years and years and years just crumbles, you know, right there on the spot. So dang, man, that's interesting as heck.
Yeah. Dark, I didn't mean to get morbid, but
no, man, that's business. I mean, even in real estate, I mean, we come across the same thing, you know, somebody where the husband did something crazy, or the wife did, and dad died, and now somebody's trying to like take advantage of the kids. And I mean, we're marriage counselors, we're psychiatrists, we're freaking we're like tax professionals, we're negotiating experts. Yeah. So
because
it's
you're
not
dealing
pretty,
ultimately in a service. You're dealing with people, and when you deal with people, people have issues and problems, and you're in a way, when you're trying to provide a service, you're intertwined with their problems. It depends on how deeply intertwined you get. There's a level to it, but as you're trying to do that deal, their problem sometimes become your problem, and you try to solve it, and that's what sets you apart from other deal makers.
So one thing that's funny is that one thing I've known in business is that we're underpaid therapists, because you have employees and clients and partners and people you just work with and touch with. And no matter what business you're in, you're an underpaid therapist.
Yeah. No, I mean, seriously, my wife just finished her master's in clinical psychology. So by trade, very soon, she will actually be a therapist. And so when she receives calls, especially from the mothers, from the moms, who they call in and say, hey, I need to get a paternity test because I strongly believe that this child is not my boyfriend's or my husband's, or I was, or I'm pregnant and I stepped out on my marriage, and there's this, and oh my God, I feel so bad. I think I'm going to go to hell. I've had people call me, I think I'm going to go to hell for what I did. And it's like, whoa, like you got to talk to them and bring them back and say, hey, let's try to find this problem together. And like you said, you're almost like an unpaid therapist. I try not to get too deep into it because obviously I'm not qualified to be a therapist, but you have these conversations and it gets deep, it gets deep.
I was one time I was coaching somebody, her husband was in prison, and she was a wreck and things weren't going right with her family, and she would call me crying, man. I'm like in the car with the wife driving, and I'm like, hey, I promise you, like, things are going to get better. They always do. And, you got this. You've come this far by yourself, and I'm like, listen to me, man.
Yeah. It's really something. But I mean, overall, though, I think paternity testing is a needed business. It's recession proof to a degree. And people are always going to be having children. Unfortunately, there's going to be distrust and cheating, or just people who need answers to those questions.
Humanity.
Yeah, it's as long as there's humans, there's going to be humanity. And there's going to be these types of situations. So, the ideal DNA testing agency owner looks to solve that problem in the most humane way possible, and that's what I try to teach, in Paternity University as well.
So Paternity University, let's hop into that. Mm-hmm. Are you teaching people how to become their own agency? Are you educating people on that? Let's go tie up in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. So in Paternity University, absolutely. I'm teaching people how to start their own DNA testing agency. And I've got a couple of students now so far who have started their own, and they're doing pretty well for themselves. I have a student who just made about $2,500 in the past 48 hours doing DNA tests, about 3 DNA tests. It teaches them what DNA paternity testing is, what you're not, you're not a lawyer, you're not a therapist. It teaches them, the labs that you have the choice to partner with, how to do a DNA test, how to set up your business, how to be professional, how to outsource collections, all that stuff. It teaches them that in the entire course. And, I like to, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I am, because I say that from time to time. I'm the first person to create a course like this. There is no other course in the world on how to start your own DNA testing agency. A lot of that stuff was, a lot of DNA testing agency owners, they kind of keep that information secret and private and keep it within the family or something like that. I'm the first one to actually say, here's how you do this and here's how you get into this industry.
So you kind of you remind me of, I think you were on Andre Hatchett's podcast. Mm-hmm. And mm-hmm. The reason why I know Andre Hatchett, because he was the first person I know that was teaching notary.
Yep.
First person ever, kind of paved the way, and now he has a bunch of students teaching other students and doing all this stuff. So I see a huge potential just with teaching others about it. And we do the same thing. We pave the way, and not that we're the first to do it, but we educate our users and our followers just to do and facilitate transactions as professional as possible, and to do a transaction from start to finish. So I think it's cool to build community and work with students and pass on the knowledge instead of holding it all in, because I think the change you can make with large numbers of people will actually show the change you made in the world, because now people you trained and committed time to are now educating and doing services for the masses.
Facts. And I always want to give Andre his flowers. A little bit of background. I've met Andre multiple times, in person, and he was the one. It was him and a couple of other people. We went to this Dallas brunch back in June, where a lot of entrepreneurs from Twitter were there, and spoke to him. He was like, "Hey man, you're doing the assurance DNA thing." I'm, "Yes, I am." And he kind of hinted like, "Hey, would you ever do a course?" And I'm like, no, I don't want to be the course guy. I didn't want to, I didn't want to do that. I was like, I don't know, man. But as I started to establish my brand on social media and talk about paternity testing, I tweeted one thing one time. "Hey, did you know you can make $150 or $125 doing DNA collections?" All of a sudden, all these people were like, just how? That led me to create the first ebook of just how to be a DNA collector. And then I started getting messages and DMs like, "How do you start your own DNA testing company?" I walked a guy through the Twitter DMs on how to start his own DNA agency. This is before the course. He started his own DNA agency and is making money weekly now. And so that motivated me to create the course. And so, got about 43 students right now, a good community on Slack. And students are taking off weekly. They're taking off, they're doing their thing.
Congratulations, man. I love it. I think what's cool is that you and Hatchet, not saying it's a low bar, but it's an easy transition from doing 9 to 5 to that. For people to jump into real estate, it could be 90 days, it could be 6 months, it could be 7 months before you even get a deal. We literally had a user message us. She's been with us for about 10 months or so, 9-10 months. She just quit her job yesterday.
Oh wow. Damn, that's powerful, man. That's powerful. And you all did that. You all helped her on that journey.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool to see, and just the process people go through over time and distance. But I like what you and Hatchet do, just because it's very, very easy to transition to a 9 to 5, because notary you can do on your days off, whenever you get off work, before you start work. Same thing with this. I feel like this, once you get your systems in place, you can really automate and just let it go.
Yes.
And it's a very easy job to transition to.
Yes. The student that made $2,500 in this past weekend or so, 48 hours, followed the course by the T. And then, the thing is, a lot of these students, they get creative and do their own thing. They apply things that they've learned from their other businesses they've started, or just other courses they've taken. So this dude got a VA to answer his calls. And once he got that VA hired and he outlined his systems based on what I say in the course, that's when it said he took off. Like, he was like, because he works a full-time job too. He can't answer the calls all day long, just like how I can't. But once he had that VA answer those calls, oh man, it took off. And he's only in his maybe 3rd month of business, So that's pretty good.
Congratulations to you, man. I love it. I love it. I support it. We want to help you in any way we can, because we love people that are making a difference in other people's lives and driving community, building their own community, just providing knowledge and information freely or at an affordable price point. Because we all think everybody should get paid. So as long as it's an affordable price point, we can go to the moon, man. I think you're following in Andre's footsteps, and you can make a huge difference in the next 2 to 5 years, man.
I think so too. I speak to him at least once or twice a week. You know what I mean? So we're in our own Slack group where it's a few of us, and we kind of just post our wins, post our strategies. And he's helped me out as well as in marketing the course and building it and telling me, "Hey man, get on these podcasts." If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have been introduced to you all. So I definitely give that man his flowers. I appreciate him, and I'm doing my own thing and building my community. So yeah.
So I know this is going to be a stupid question, but
go ahead.
How is the power of network affecting your business?
Oh man, dude. When I say that networking event in Dallas, that is what basically helped my business pretty much 3x. So before, the thing is, it's, y'all know El Paso, okay? You know where El Paso is at. That shit is, I'm sorry, excuse my language. It is, okay, El Paso isn't bad, but it is in its own world in Texas, okay? I know the rest of y'all Texans have y'all feelings, the San Antonians, the Houstonians,
they just call it New Mexico.
Yeah, it is. El Paso is out in New Mexico, pretty much. You're right there. Okay, you're right there.
It's like what, like an 8-hour stretch to San Antonio?
That is 100% correct. I've driven that 7 hour and 40-minute stretch. It was horrible driving across this. I did. So I say that to say, I'm military, so I was in Baltimore before this, and then in El Paso, and you just get into your own little bubble when it comes to your business, right? Okay, you tweet some stuff, you get into your own little bubble. But man, when I physically went to network with those folks in Dallas, I mean, other heavy hitters on the entrepreneurial, they call them LLC Twitter, or the entrepreneurial side of Twitter. So Xavier Miller and Deanna Kent, them Andre Hatchett, Todd Millionaire, all those folks are there, right? And speaking to them in person, just getting around that vibe, man. And like, damn, you know what? They're doing it. I could do this too. I can do it too. And I swear things just increase exponentially after that. So if, hey, of course, with COVID dependent, of course, if anybody listening can get to any type of physical conferences, network, oh man, get on podcasts, however you can, that is critically important to the growth of your business.
So towards the end, we always ask this.
Yeah.
What is a quote, whether yours or somebody else's, that you resonate with?
You said a quote?
Quote, yes.
Oh man, damn, you put me on the spot here.
Point.
Yeah. Man, I was thinking the first thing that came to my mind was get paid. I'm gonna paraphrase it, but get paid, young brother, get paid by Young Dolph, man. Rest in peace, Young Dolph. That's the first thing that came to mind for some reason. I couldn't think of any type of beautiful prose quote. And ironically, I'm an English major and I couldn't think of something immediately. But I just thought of Young Dolph, man. That was the first thing I thought of was whatever you do, just make sure to get paid. So continue on with your consistency, your discipline, and trying to, in your entrepreneurial endeavors. That's the first quote that came to mind.
So a lot of people think entrepreneurship is easy, so you really got to pay the bills.
Yeah. And that's the thing, man. Right now, I have the safety net of my career. I do. I'm military. I get paid 1st and 15th, no matter what. I got health insurance. I bought my house with a VA loan. Life is sweet, career-wise for me. So I have that safety net. But I'm working to prep because, if I were to, oh man, it'd really be on, man. If I were to get out the military the next year or so, I'd have to turn up, man, significantly. But I'm using that safety net as of right now to really build and set my systems up, set everything up so that whenever I do leave the military, it's an easy transition.
You have any final questions you want to ask, Anthony?
No, I was just going to mention, man, that's what I was kind of hinting at earlier, like about the scalability. I just want to say congratulations, man, on building a community and teaching other people. I think I was having fun with real estate for the first couple of years, but now having a community and like lighting the torch for other people, man, that's amazing, bro. So I bet you feel amazing about that. I just wanted to say congrats.
Thank you, man. Every single, every time a student of mine, even a student who just says, hey, I signed my contract with the lab. Hey, I finally got my box of DNA test supplies. I got my logo or whatever. Like we all root them on in the Slack channel, in the community. Like everything is a win. And when a student does a DNA test for the first time, it's like I did. It's like a win. We all win. You know what I mean? So that's the energy that I like to have, and I appreciate that. Thank you, man.
So
it gets me high as a kite when one of the guys calls us and they're like, hey, I got my first contract. Hey,
hell yeah, man. Yeah, exactly, man. You want to see people win.
So name a few places where people can find you, where people can connect with the community. You mentioned you're on Thumbtack. Plug all your stuff right here.
Yeah, for sure. I am most active on Twitter. So on Twitter, I am Royal Skegee, Royal ROYAL SKEGEE. The same on Instagram. If you want to catch me on Instagram, check out Paternity University on Instagram, paternityuniversity.com. If you want to learn how to start your own DNA testing business, check me out on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as well, Royal Banks. Go to, now if you or somebody not y'all, well, who knows? It could be somebody y'all know as well, who knows? But if you, the listener, or somebody need a actual paternity test, or if you want an ancestry test, because I do those as well, contact me at assurancedna.com. Our phone number's there. We work in absolute confidence, so your information will never be put out. If you or somebody else need a paternity test, you have questions that you've had that you want answered, reach out to us. Either myself or my wife will answer the phone, and we can help you no matter what state you are in the entire country. So thank you.
Man, this has been an awesome interview. I'm excited for people out there. I'm excited for you, man. I think you make change in lives is not a small feat, and it is a very big deal. So we appreciate you coming on. Man, it was just a great interview. We'll plug all your links and stuff at the bottom of the show notes for all this on the podcast and on YouTube. But we appreciate you coming on, man. Hopefully we'll do it again in the future, and hopefully we can find a way to collaborate.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, brothers. Thank you, Daniel and Anthony. I really appreciate it.